Hey everyone, welcome back to another video, and in today's video we have this 2022 GMC Yukon and we're going to do the side door chrome delete installation for this vehicle. So as you can see, this is how it looks before doing the installation on the side trim, and this is how it looks after the installation. So we use the gloss black material, that way it matches the pillars of the vehicle, and also it gives it a more sportier look as well. If you like the product, link for the product will be down below. But with that being said, let's get started with the installation video. So before starting with the installation, we need to make sure we prep the panel. So to prep it, make sure you have a spray bottle mixed with water and baby shampoo. Once you have your solution, spray it onto a clean microfiber towel and start removing all the contaminants that the panel may have. Make sure once you finish prepping the panel that everything is completely dry. And the reason why we need the panel dry is because if we still have moisture left over and it's not completely dry, the adhesive on the film will not tack down and it's just going to lift over time. So make sure the panel is completely dry after you finish prepping it. Okay, so first we're going to start by installing the piece that goes on the fender side of the vehicle. So with this one, grab the film and just align it to the edge here and make sure you just give yourself enough material to cover the chrome. Once you have it there, align the rest of the film to the panel and it should line up to the rest here. And then you just do the same here. If you need to lift to readjust it, you can. Just lift it carefully and just help it tack down to the curve. And all we're doing now is just grabbing our squeegee, tacking down the whole film, making sure we remove all the fingers. And if you have excess material, we'll just trim it off. So like for example here and here, we would get our blade and just be careful not to scratch the paint and trim off the excess material there. Look for the gap and trim off the excess material here. And now we apply heat to finish securing the film. So start around the curve to help it tack down around the curve and just make your way around the film. Okay, now we're done with this install, we can move on to the side trim. Okay, so we're going to start off by installing the piece for the front side. So start off by aligning the film to this cutout of the panel. So align it roughly around there on the edge, and the rest of the film should just follow along to the panel. Lift it carefully in case it does get stuck, and just follow the design of the chrome. And make sure everything's aligned on the bottom and everything's good to go. And now we're just going to apply heat to help the film mold to the curve here. And now you grab your squeegee, tack down the film. And then just be careful when you're trimming the excess material. Make sure you give yourself enough room and just trim off the excess material. And that's it. And now we move on to the side pieces. Okay, so for this side piece, we're going to start by installing on this edge, making sure we have it aligned and just follow through up till we reach to this edge here. So what you can do is just place the film here. That way we can use both our hands to align it on this edge. So align it there and just work your way on installing the film and use the lower half of the trim as a guide to align the film. And now you just grab your squeegee, start tacking down the film and then tack down inside. And the excess material that you do have, you would just trim it off. So for example here on the edge, we have excess material. So right on the edge, we would just come and trim it off. And then on the top section here, we have excess material as well. But before we trim it off, make an outline with your finger. That way you have an idea of where you need to trim off the excess material. And then come with the blade and slowly take your time. You don't have to apply too much pressure, just light pressure, and go across and trim off all the excess material. Just take your time until you reach to the edge here, and then just remove it. And now just apply heat to help seal the film, and then you should be done and we can move on with the next piece. Now we follow along with the next install. So this one is the piece underneath the pillar. So just grab the piece, align it to the edge, and use the lower half as the guide in order to install it. So as you go, align it and tack it down till you reach the edge. Once you place it, grab your squeegee, tack it down, and then we will trim off the excess material. So same steps, make the outline of where you need to trim the excess material. Grab your blade and slowly, little by little, trim off all the excess material. And now once you finish trimming the excess material, apply heat just to seal the whole film. Okay, and now we move on to this section here. Okay, so when it comes to doing the installation for this piece here, you want to start by aligning this edge here to the edge on this side. So align it there and just follow the design of the panel until you reach to this end. And the reason why we're doing it from this side is because once we end it here, we have more room to trim off the excess material. So then now grab your squeegee, start tacking down the film. And then trim off the excess material here and on top, and then apply heat to seal the film. Create the outline, and then use your blade to trim off the material. And now apply heat. Okay, and now we can move on with the lower sections of the door trim. So for this piece here, you would want to start off where we left off with the other section here. So just place the film here and align the film right on the edge where we left off, and make sure you give yourself enough material to cover the edge of here. Lift the film carefully, and now we can start aligning the film to the lower section of the panel. And once we're done aligning it, we're going to tag it down with our squeegee, and once we finish tacking down, we're going to trim off the excess material. Now make an outline of where you need to trim the excess material. Once the outline has been created, grab your blade and trim off the excess material. Just take your time when you're trimming off the excess material. And now apply heat to seal the film. And the same steps that we did here, you're just rinse and repeat the same steps for the rear panel. And then we will move on to the last piece on the pillar side. So when it comes to installing the pillar, you want to start by placing the film here and just aligning it to this curve first. Make sure that you give yourself enough material to cover the curve and enough to cover the edge here. So this gives you a rough idea of how much you're going to cover. That should be good. Now lift the film carefully and just place the film and align it to this edge first, and it should cover up to the top edge. So this whole area should be flat. Grab your squeegee, tack it down, and just start little by little tacking down and bringing the film to this side. And then on this curve here, we're going to apply heat just to help it sit, and then finish it off by tacking it down. So apply heat, let the film lose its tension, and apply heat on the top as well, and in the middle. Let the film cool off, and then use your finger to help it tack down. And that's pretty much it. And now you would just finish tacking down the rest of the film. And if you have any excess material, that material we would trim off. And then just apply heat one more time around the area where there's a curve. Squeegee down everything, and now just trim off the excess material carefully. So trim it off on this edge, we don't need this piece. Trim it off on top, and also trim it off on the edges here. Make the outline, and on the edges. Take your time. And that's it. And just apply heat wherever we trimmed off the excess material, because sometimes when we peel off the excess material, we might lift the film. But other than that, you're done with the installation for the side trims, and you would go back to all of them and pulse heat the entire panel. So once you finish installing the whole side piece on the door trim, the last thing to do would be to pulse heat the entire panel. So to pulse heat, all you need is your heat gun, and just apply heat all over the panel, just to make sure we help the adhesive on the film activate faster. And if there's any film that's still lifting, we could help it tack down by using the heat gun. And then once you're done pulse heating the entire panel, you're done with installation. And then with this step, just take your time, just make sure you're going all around the film. Take your time applying heat, and then once you're done, you're good to go. Thank you for choosing Bogar Tech Design. As a small business, your support means everything to us. If you loved your product, please drop a review. If you have questions or issues, don't forget to message us via email. Once again, thank you so much for the support from our family to yours. So that concludes the installation video for the side Chrome Delete installation for the 2022 GMC Yukon. We hope that this video helped you guys out with the installation. If it did, don't forget to drop a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe and turn on the notification bell. That way you don't miss any upcoming installation videos. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.